Let them know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show them who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to bronze. I said I'm moving too far. Getting glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon.
They can't do this anymore. This is not a test.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Disclosure TV. Welcome, everybody. We've had a good, solid week of some weird-ass news. If everybody remembers, I haven't been on for about, I don't know, I guess a week and a half or so. And I wanted to wait until a few things calmed down before I started saying anything, because I like to get my information straight, and I'd like to provide information that nobody else has. So the big thing is where is Mr. Epstein? Is he alive? Is he dead? Did he commit himself to the great beyond? And we're getting ready to find that out here in just a second. So if you all don't know, on August 10th, Jeffrey Epstein was actually, I don't know of anybody that's getting ready to cover the stuff that I'm getting ready to tell you. So as everybody knows, Jeffrey Epstein was charged with conspiracy and trafficking in children. And if you go back a month or two, about a month, if you remember, Brooklyn or Manhattan had a blackout from extending from Epstein's apartment, his Manhattan mansion, all the way to Manhattan, the Metropolitan Jail. And it was that way for about 4 hours, and nobody knew what caused that power outage then, and that was odd. So nobody knew what was going on. There was said to be a fire in a manhole cover. Turned out there was no fire. So a lot of people thought that, at the time, that it may have had something to do with Epstein, and it's a possibility it still could. So after that, Epstein was found in his cell. A few days to a week later after that, in a fetal position. Officials said that he was that he had marks around his neck, and that he was indicating that that they were indicating that he may have tried to commit suicide. Well, that was not confirmed, and that was not confirmed by any official. That was stated by the media, but never confirmed. After an investigation, nothing ever came back out of that, and nobody ever said that he tried to commit suicide. However, it was told later on that a few people with sources in the jail, in the correctional facility, they had found that Epstein had told them that he may have been attacked. Now, like I said, that's nobody ever confirmed what happened when they found him the first time, and they put him on suicide watch. So after they put him on suicide watch, he was on suicide watch for about 2 weeks, and then after that, that brings us up to the 10th of August at 6:30 in the morning. As you know, correctional officers find him at 6:30 a.m. He had tied a sheet around his neck and tied it to the bunk bed, and he was found in a kneeling position, leaning forward in a kneeling position, and it was said that he had committed suicide by doing that. He is around 6 foot tall, maybe right around 6 foot or right at 6 foot tall. The bunk beds in a jail, a person is taller than them, and you have to imagine what it's like to attempt to hang yourself from a bunk bed or an object that's shorter than you are. Well, if you try to attempt any type of suicide, your body goes straight into panic mode, and you don't think about nothing but trying to stop what's happening. So trying to hang yourself from a distance that's shorter than you are is almost impossible to do, and you would have to have it would be impossible to have the mental aspect or the mental strength to keep going, to keep suffocating yourself, basically. It would be impossible for your body not to automatically stand up, or at least try to stand up. So, attempting to hang yourself from, something that's shorter you are, and your body automatically goes into survival mode, pretty much you just attempted to hang yourself for no reason. So, that's kind of crazy, to think that's what they said happened. And so let's get to that's up to date for right now. So let's go past what's happened over the next few days. So let's go to the hospital. All right. So he was at 6:36. It was announced that he had been found at 6:36 or 6:38, something like that. He had was just apparently pulled off of suicide watch. But during suicide, if you're on suicide watch, you get a paper suit. Trust me, my dad was a 15-year veteran of in corrections, and my wife's father is a federal warden. So I know about. I have professional knowledge on what they were, or what any jail would do in that, in that, in that situation. So they would give you basically give you a paper suit. You wouldn't get anything to cover up with. No, nothing. You would basically go to a one-man cell where you could use the bathroom and sit in the cell. They don't even give you. I doubt they even gave him a mat. Sometimes they don't. Usually they don't. Sometimes they do. So, let's go to the part where, where they get him to the hospital. Yes, Huckabee's 22. You are right. There were bunk beds, and also that's what they said, is that his cellmate was conveniently moved before, and the two guards that heard the shrieking are conveniently moved away. They got moved to a different detention center along with the warden after all this went down. So let's get to the parts that I want to show you. So here we are. Let me turn my mic down a little. So here we are on 4chan. 40, and a lot of people already know this part. 40 minutes before Epstein was reported to have been moved to the hospital, it was posted on 4chan that, in fact, that this did happen, and this was 40 minutes prior to it being reported on the mainstream media, which the first report came via ABC, I think. ABC first reported it on a tweet, and then they followed up later. So sometime before the post, if you look at the it says different post ID, but still 20 minutes before Epstein's death was reported by mainstream news. You can find it. I'm just showing you what it looks like right here. So this person is said to be more likely either a jail, somebody who works in the jail, or EMS, or part of the fire department in New York. Well, prior to that, I think prior to that, another post was made on 4chan stating that Epstein was moved in a wheelchair via an unknown white van with a guy in military fatigues in the back of it, and he was in a wheelchair, but no nurse saw him. They said he was being wheeled to the infirmary maybe, but nobody saw him. And the tags on the van didn't get written down. Only the tower guard saw him. Yeah, Huckabeast, I'd say there's a lot of people, a lot of officials who use 4chan to get intelligence out. As a matter of fact, I think the FBI raided 4chan, and I know they look at 4chan, and I know they looked at 8chan, but 8chan's gone now. But 4chan, I do know that officials get on there and leak information. I do know that. There's been several times where information's been leaked on 4chan, and come to find out it was true. So, like I said, 40 minutes prior to the announcement that Epstein, had committed suicide, it was posted all over 4chan. So, after... So, I want to take... I know the screen just went blank, but I'm still here. So, I want to take you to the hospital and show you what was going on. So, Epstein was brought to the hospital and he was unloaded. And let me see if I can find that picture. I thought I had it up there. Let me put it up there.
I didn't know you could go. You don't have to take an hour to get those hills.
Sorry about that. I guess nobody listened to that I was going live. I guess they paid no attention to that. So, this was part of Epstein being wheeled in. If you look at the picture to the right that was set, that picture is part of the picture where he was being wheeled in by paramedics and being worked on by paramedics. And at the time, it was said that he was going into cardiac arrest at the time. So the left is actually Epstein alive. Now, what this is not showing you, what this is showing you, I think it's the wrong image, but it's showing you the differences between his ears. So there is a difference between his ears, and basically the person's ears in this picture are off. If you look at Epstein alive, he has kind of a triangle looking shape in his ear, and Epstein dead, there's no triangle shape, and there's no way to change that. That's the shape whether you're dead or alive. There's no change in that. And if you look at the nose, at Epstein's nose, it's different too. So here's the thing about why the EMS, why the official report stated that he was brought in with cardiac arrest. So he was brought in with cardiac arrest, even though 2 hours before that he was dead. So 2 hours before he was brought in, investigators found out he was dead, and that prison guards had falsified prison records. And so the EMS at that point knew he was dead, because they're trained to know what dead people look like, for one, and the experience they have with removing people from different scenarios. They know what dead people look like. They know how long they've been dead, post-mortem and all that. So the fact that the EMS workers were said to still be attempting to revive him when he got to the hospital, even after two hours of being dead, well, that's stupid. There's no sense in doing that. They've already been dead 2 hours. There's no bringing them back. So, in my opinion, the reason they did that is because jail protocol when a death occurs is that an investigation has to happen at the jail. So if they can keep from pronouncing someone dead at the jail and send them back to the hospital and let them pronounce them dead at the hospital, then there's no investigation at the jail. So that's what's called an in-house death. So that's how the jails keep from being having death investigations all the time. So really his death was an in-house death, and now that's why they're investigating it now. Well, the weird thing about what's going on with the investigation is that people are watching me, and I don't like it. Well, sorry. So the weird thing is, I didn't mean to say people were watching me. People in here are watching me. I didn't mean to sound crazy. So people are watching me here, not. So anyway, so, that's jail protocol. Like I said, they want to pronounce a death at the hospital and not at the jail, and that keeps an investigation from happening. Well, as you can see, that they lied anyway. So I want to. So after he was pronounced dead, they decided to move him. So they decided to move him, and you can look this up in the media if you want. That's whatever you want to do. So they brought him in a medical. They put him in the back of a medical examiner's van and hauled him off. And there's a video of that happening. So they hauled him off to the medical examiner's office, or they said they put him, and that's from the hospital. So that picture you just saw, or this picture is at the hospital. That's at New York Presbyterian Hospital, where he was taken. So he was put in the back of that van, at that point he's getting ready to leave in that picture. So another picture came out. And the other picture that came out also said the same exact thing, which was showing this picture where Epstein's body was being loaded into the back of a black SUV, showing that says forensic operations. Now, I want you to notice the guy in the backpack, and I want you to keep in mind that there was a guy in a backpack in this picture. So at this point on this day, or the next day actually, the FBI decided to raid Epstein's island one day, about 36 hours after he committed suicide. The FBI decided to raid his St. James Island. So those two photos that I showed you, this one and this one, dude, my foot is falling asleep. So this one and the van were said to both have transported Jeffrey Epstein out of the hospital. Now, it's either one or the other. He's not leaving the hospital twice. So he didn't leave the hospital twice, and actually I knew that, but then I started looking at videos, where where it showed these two vehicles leaving the hospital at the same time. So what I want to show you is, first of all, is these guys in the backpacks. I don't know who these guys are. I don't have a clue. The one on the left, right beside the ambulance, he does not look like a agent that I would want to mess with at all. That dude looks like he's up to no good. That looks like Mr. T's mutated cousin, to be honest with you. And the one on the right, I'm guessing he's with them, and they've covered up both all insignia. They have no insignia on them whatsoever, but they're both carrying backpacks. And then the other two in the middle right there, that's a police officer and what I'm guessing is a security guard for the hospital. But the two guys on each end they're carrying weapons, and they don't have any identifying insignia at all. So these two guys right here are at the white coroner's van where it was said they was loading up Jeffrey Epstein's body. So this is another backpack dude with basically the same uniform. You can see them actually loading up the body into the forensic operations van, or the truck, the Chevy truck. So you got two vehicles that have said to transported Epstein out of the same hospital. You got these weird looking dudes in these backpacks. Don't know who they are. No insignia, no anything. One of them doesn't look like he's an agent, a uniformed agent, like, that would, an FBI investigator that would be there. He actually looks like he's a field agent, like a tactical field agent. That's like he goes in and does dirty work. That's what he looks like. And basically so does this other guy. So, like I said, there's no way that both of these vehicles was carrying the body of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, as you can see, this one, they are carrying out a body and they stick it in, and there's a video that shows them sticking it in there, and you can find that if you want. But the other one, I want to show you what the other video looks like. So I'm going to pull that video up real quick. I have to find it. I was barely ready when all this was happening. So this is that video. I want to start it over so you can see it. This is the video of Epstein being loaded into the van. You can see the curtains there. He's being loaded into the medical examiner's office, and that is at the same time, during the same time that these guys right here are, that's where they're at, is at this white van. So I want you So that's who's there. And I'll start it over again so you can watch it. But I want you to pay close attention. I want you to pay close attention to the gurney. All right, so when I show you this, look underneath the gurney, or underneath the I guess the blocker there, and I want you to look at the gurney where the I guess the gurney, the board is, the board that's on the gurney, and see if you notice anything's missing there. Now, this is supposed to be when they're loading Jeffrey Epstein in the back of a medical examiner's van. There's no body on that gurney. There's not a body on that gurney at all. You don't see a black body bag hanging out the end. Jeffrey Epstein is 6 foot tall. They had the blinders there. They had the blinders there to stop people from seeing it. So this is supposed to be when they're loading Jeffrey Epstein up. Well, they get in and they take off. This is the second part of the video where they take off. And here in just a second, after you watch this video, after you watch this, I'm going to show you, these are the guys that's walking off. The other guy that was, there was another guy, he took off in a different direction. Another guy in a backpack, he went a different direction. So this is them loading Jeffrey Epstein up and taking off. The other guy in the backpack that I showed you before. So this is them, and I'm gonna give you I'm gonna show you a close-up video, or a close-up screenshot of that gurney. So here is a close-up shot of the gurney that where Epstein's body was supposed to be. You know, it was supposed to be on there. You're supposed to be looking at the edge of a body bag in that shot. So if Epstein's not there and they didn't load him in that one, that means he went in the other one. Now, we don't know who was in the other one. We don't know what body bag went out in the other one, but we do know that Epstein wasn't on the medical examiner's van like the media was told by officials. So, you know, the media was told by officials that he was taken to the medical examiner's office. Well, you know what? That video that I just showed you was exactly that, where the white van left heading to the medical examiner's office to do an autopsy. There was nobody in that van. There was nobody on the gurney that was stuck in the van. That gurney that you're looking at in the picture was stuck in the van, and then they took off. So, you know, you know, if they're going to lie about who was in the medical examiner's van, we have no idea who's in the other thing. In the Chevy Suburban, we don't even know who's in that one. But we know all these guys right here. We don't know who they are. But that guy right there was up front. That's the guy that left. That was part of the that I told you that left the white van and he went somewhere else. Well, that's him. That Chevy Suburban on the side of it, if you can't see it, it says forensic operations. Now, those guys do not look like forensic operations guys. They don't. I don't. Forensic people, forensic scientists, and forensic doctors don't wear guns. And as you can tell, you know, from a minute ago, neither do the drivers. So why are armed agents that have no insignia, why are they following along with Jeffrey Epstein in a forensic van? Why would the officials, why would they lie about which van took Jeffrey Epstein or which vehicle took Jeffrey Epstein? So I want to show you the full video. I want to show you the full video of where the van and the other vehicle drives off. So let me start that all over real quick. So that's the vehicle. What you're seeing there is the vehicle driving off, the forensic vehicle driving off. Now, I haven't looked at those numbers yet or saw what the numbers are on the back, and I'm going to. There's the guy that ends up leaving with the other van. Now he's up front loading Jeffrey Epstein up in a medical examiner's van. They're going to load. They loaded. This was after they loaded the gurney up, and they take off. And they basically loaded a medical examiner's, a medical examiner van up with a gurney, and there's no body in there. The body just went in that first black vehicle that you saw. That black vehicle right there. Now, I just don't understand why armed agents who are linked to no agency, apparently, or who don't want to be known who are linked to agents, or, to an agency, are following Jeffrey Epstein's body. Don't have a clue. Now, as you can see, we don't know if there's anything in that body bag. We don't know if there's probably a body in there, but we don't know if it's Jeffrey Epstein. That's for damn sure. But what I do know is that they did a switcheroo. I do know that they did a switcheroo on it on the media. Now, JCJ, that's probably correct. I'm starting to think that there was a body double, and I'm going to show you why. So after all that happened, like I said, there's the picture of the gurney with nothing on it. That's absolutely nothing. You don't see a body bag there. So they can't say that his body was transported in that van, because it wasn't. And that's what officials told everybody. So, as I said, you know, guards started coming out, and after the investigation kind of started at the jail, the guards in Jeffrey Epstein's jail were sleeping, and falsified records report says, I just can't believe that the guards, those guards were sleeping. Just can't believe that. Now, at all this, at the same time, let me switch back over. Sorry, I lost audio there a minute. Sorry about that. So anyway, Jeffrey Epstein, there was no cameras that caught anything. No cameras in the hallway. They went down for 30 minutes. The guards lied. Two guards were sent somewhere else. The warden was shipped off to another facility, and they were all reassigned. And all at the same time, the mainstream media is basically saying the same thing that conspiracy theorists are at this point, that that there's a conspiracy at play here, and more than likely either Jeffrey Epstein was murdered and it's trying to be hidden, or Jeffrey Epstein's not dead. And it's one of those two. Yeah, my microphone messed up. So, and you're right, JCJ, you're right. So a lot of the things happened that shouldn't have happened, and there's too many coincidences. So now a couple hours after, or like I said, a couple hours after all this happened, the FBI raided Epstein's properties. Now, in order to tell you about how Epstein said he was attacked and he was afraid for his life, and this was during the first attack at where they said he tried to commit suicide, and basically somebody tried to attack him. So I want to show you this, and this right here is what makes me realize that Jeffrey Epstein more than likely did not kill himself, or never even hung himself, never even attempted it. So what you're looking at is an investigation that came out that nobody's talking about hardly. When he done his 13-month stint in Palm Beach, Jeffrey Epstein paid the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office $128,000 during his incarceration for private security. So guards stood outside his door and made sure that nobody, Palm Beach Sheriff deputies stood outside his door, guarding his door and guarding him while he was in that jail for 13 months. So he spent $128,000 doing that. He also was on work release during that time, where it's also said that he also trafficked girls, young girls then too. So his company records show that Epstein's Florida Science Foundation paid Palm Beach Sheriff deputies $128,000 to keep him safe. So a person that paid deputies $128,000 to keep him safe and as his personal security guards, a person like that does not want to die. And a person as rich as he is more than likely doesn't want to die either. So, as I said, that right there makes me think that, more than likely Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead and he's under witness protection. The little switcheroo they had with the van and the vehicle, no CCTV captured, nothing going on, guards were shipped off, a federal FBI investigation was taken over. There's federal agents with no agency, no insignia, transporting what's said to be Jeffrey Epstein's body. None of that makes sense. Whatever, even the media themselves says what they report doesn't make sense, and the alternative media digs a little deeper, and what I found doesn't make sense. So, correct. They don't need a body double. If they're trying to, if they're covering up a murder. But I'm covering the bases because it was said that Clinton, Anthony Rodham Clinton, or Tony Rodham Clinton, Clinton's brother, was the body double. So, and that's some of the theories that are out there. But my theory is that he's not even dead, and he's in witness protection, and they're protecting him. And basically, the federal agents are doing that. Now, this is my last piece of evidence I want to show you, because I have to eat some food like everybody else. So this is the last thing I'm going to show you. If you remember, I talked to you about how the FBI raided Jeffrey Epstein's home 2 days after, about 36 hours or so, somewhere in there, after he committed suicide. So they raided his home, and they didn't raid his St. James Island before. They had back in the early or mid 2000s, 2008, they had, and his mansion apartment and all that. So the FBI raided they raided his his island, and and the FBI went in there and grabbed stuff out. It says FBI raids Jeffrey Epstein's private Caribbean island. That's the place where most of the conspiracy, the conspiracy is said to take place at, is that island. So they raided it 2 days after his 2 days 2 days after his suicide. So, and this is the Miami Herald, and the Miami Herald shows FBI raids Jeffrey Epstein's Pedo Island estate as investigation continues. And they raided the crap out of it. There's actually a video. If you the guy's name's Rusty Shackelford on YouTube. If you go there, he's been running a drone over the island for the last month, and you can see that footage. People think that footage is John McAfee. Now, John McAfee says that he's not the one who's running the drone, but John McAfee is technically was in the Caribbean at the time. So people think that Rusty Shackelford is John McAfee, but he's claiming it's not him. So like I said, the last thing I want to show you is this right here. 2 days after the FBI raids, or a day after the FBI, or 2 days. I mean, there's less than 48 hours in there. In less than 48 hours, the government releases that they're selling or auctioning off everything that Jeffrey Epstein owns. They're selling his island. They're selling everything that goes on his island, his boats. They're selling his Manhattan apartment, his mansion that's worth like $60 million, $57 million. The island's worth $68 million. Now these are owned by Epstein, and we're all just raided 2 days ago. And technically, they are still part of an ongoing investigation for child trafficking and conspiracy to traffic children. And now they're selling them 2 days later. That can't be right. That cannot be right. There's only one reason I could think of as to why the lawyers and the government would want to get rid of Epstein's assets, even during an investigation that is ongoing, that just started. The FBI just raided it 2 days ago. Epstein died 4 days ago, and his assets are already being sold off in that 4-day period. And you're talking close to $200 million, or probably close to $250 million worth of assets that we know about just in property, just in 4 or 5 things. Now, why in the hell would they sell Jeffrey Epstein's property within 4 days of his death, or announce that they are? That doesn't make any sense. An ongoing investigation is happening. He died 4 days ago. 2 days ago, there was an FBI raid. 2 days after the FBI raid, they're selling his property. That, pardon my language, but that's fucking crazy. That's part of a federal investigation that's already crazy enough. It's part of a death, a suicide by Jeffrey Epstein that's already crazy. And now 4 days later, they're selling his property. And there's only one reason I could think of that they would sell his property, and in my opinion, would be that Jeffrey Epstein's never coming back to this property, whether he's dead or whether he's still alive and being hidden. So you have to understand, he still needs money. He can't use his bank accounts. So, he's going to sell all these properties. This had to be planned prior. All this was planned out. Every bit of this. This has got the federal government written all over it. Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. The only person out of, 4 days after he dies and his property's being sold, auctioned off, they haven't even had the funeral yet. They're still doing it. They were still, yesterday they did the autopsy. Come on. That's crazy. So, that's just crazy. That right there should tell you that all this was a plan from the get-go. From the time of the power outage, from the time for the power outage in Manhattan a month ago, till current, it's all being planned out. Every bit of it. There's enough proof. I mean, I would say even, I would go as far as there's 90% evidence that foul play is happening, and there's at least a good 70%, 70% worth of evidence that is showing that Epstein is still alive, and the feds have something to do with it. That's crazy to put up a man's house, put up a man's property for auction, and that they haven't even had his funeral yet. He's still sitting in a freaking ice box. Quote unquote. Put parentheses around that. So the only reason they're selling it is because he can't go back there anymore. That's the only reason. He can't go back there anymore. Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. More than likely, he's in witness protection. They're selling the property because he can't go back there, and he wants his money, of course. He's going to keep his money. Now, the question is where the hell is Jeffrey Epstein? Where the hell's Jeffrey Epstein at?
Jeffrey Epstein's still alive. More than likely.
It's a possibility. Bitcoin's getting big. The government's starting to want to tax it. And this right here, the selling of his property was the final nail in the coffin for me, pun intended. So that was the final nail in the coffin for me. All the evidence that, this, nobody's really showing any of this evidence, what I've showed, and they're showing, some things, and they're talking about things that are happening, but they're not really showing any of it. And that's what I do here at this channel. I like to show the evidence. I don't like to talk about it. I like to show it. And like I said, this right here was the last evidence. I have a little bit more, but I'm going to end it right there. So, like I said, I appreciate everybody watching. I hope you all got the gist of what I was talking about. I hope you all enjoyed what I was talking about. I hope a lot what I said made sense. I hope I showed you enough proof that Jeffrey Epstein is more or less, he's in witness protection. He gave out names 2 days prior to his suicide. He gave out names of people, not to mention, if you let me go back to Palm Beach, and you can look it up if you want. You have to look it up in the Palm Beach news, in Florida news. Jeffrey Epstein, the prosecutor for Jeffrey Epstein's case back in 2008, actually made a deal to where he got the 13 months. Well, a secret part of that deal was the people, the elitists and the celebrities he named at the time that were part of the trafficking ring and the pedo ring. He named names then, but the deal he made is if he pled guilty to those charges, that the people he named could not be named and could not be prosecuted. Now you can go look that up. Like I said, you can go look that up. In the Miami news, they do have that. I'm sure it's probably national news by now, but a lot of people aren't reporting on that. You've got AG Barr investigating. You got just about a huge number of Americans who don't even believe in conspiracy theories anymore. They're saying that something's up with this. You got government officials and senators are saying, something's wrong with this. Something's wrong. Well, yeah, something's wrong. We could tell that from the get-go. I mean, it had already been thought of and predicted that Jeffrey Epstein was going to end up dead in prison, which we already knew that. The question is how bad was, how little the evidence of foul play, how little of the evidence of foul play was there going to be? It turned out to be a shit ton. So, like I said, JCJ, I'll look at the hands on the gurney photo. Yeah, I know. I actually looked at that. His hands on the gurney photo were, when they were bagging him, his hands were sitting on his stomach, almost touched together at some point. It was like he was staged. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, but I know that Jeffrey Epstein's not dead, and I don't know who those agents were, but those agents belonged to a no-name agency. They were carrying weapons. They had no insignia. They looked like they were field agents. They were not desk agents, that's for sure. And that would be odd to send a field agent to a hospital unless you were protecting that field, needed to physically protect that agent, or physically protect somebody. So, like I said, I hope that helps out with, with what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein, and I hope I provided enough proof that he's still alive. I appreciate you all watching. I am going to jump off of here and oh yeah, I forgot to tell people stuff. I did start a Patreon. It should be under my let's see if it's on there. No, I didn't put it. Oh yeah, I put it on there. So I'm trying to get my channel to be bigger and better. If you all want to support me on Patreon, you can look up the link. I've got like 5 different tiers. I'm going to end up putting some stuff on there that you can't put on YouTube. And I do have a lot of footage of a lot of things that have happened, like casualty events that can't go on YouTube, and information relating to that. So I'm going to put that on there. You know, I have tiers on there for, you know, birthday shout outs. You know, you get, I'll send you birthday gifts, you know. But like I said, just read up on it. I'm trying to get people to support the channel, to make the channel bigger. Right now I've got like 2 computers, a couple cameras, and I'm trying to get better cameras and better equipment. I've already spent, I think, like $3,000 on just a little bit of stuff I have. So, like I said, join Patreon. If you can't join Patreon, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. I'm trying to get more people to subscribe. I need to make it to 1,000 subscribers. And like I said, I hope everybody enjoyed my video today. And if I talk too much, I'm sorry. I'm actually going to try to get a call show going on. That would be cool. And the call show is going to have the same stuff. You know, I'm going to try to get a call thing set up so where we can get calls. But I'm going to show the same evidence. And that's what a lot of shows don't show. They don't show any evidence. They just talk about news articles. But that's what I want to do, is I want to show the evidence that this bad crap is happening. You know, I want to show evidence that conspiracies, how much evidence there are to all these conspiracies. I don't want to just show an article that says an asteroid flew by Earth. You know, I don't want to do that. So, like I said, join me on Patreon. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends about my channel. Have them subscribe. I answer back with the comments. I'm on Twitter. I talk to people on Twitter on a daily basis. So, like I said, this is Disclosure TV. Oh yeah, JCJ. I do have. You can hit me up on Twitter, DM me on Twitter, and you can hit me at disclosurechannel@gmail.com. You can send me information, videos, photos, you know, even a conversation if you want. So, so you can hit me up on there on anything like that. But Twitter is mainly my main place that you'll find me, so you can send me a message on there. But if you got other things, like I said, disclosurechannel@gmail.com. So, like I said, everybody, thanks for watching. And I hope you all have a good night. I'll try to get some more videos up pretty soon. I'm still working on my Patreon and all that, getting articles and videos up for that. So I just wanted to stop and do this one real quick. Like I said, thanks for watching Disclosure TV, and we are out of here.
May God be with you. This is not a test.